My name's Dermot Muir. I'm currently the chair of the board at the Irish Canadian Immigration Centre in Toronto. So I was born in Belfast, brought out to Canada when I was very small, so I've grown up in Canada. So I've been educated in various places in Ontario and ended up at Queen's University in Kingston, it's interesting because it's about the same age as Queen's in Belfast. And I went to law school there and graduated with my law degree in 1986 and then was called to the bar of Ontario at that time. I've spent most of my career has been in the public sector. I was general counsel at a government agency called Infrastructure Ontario, which has become a world leader in the PFI or triple P market, however you frame that. That's the combination of public and private financing and resources to build major infrastructure. So we started that quite a few years ago. It must be about 16 or 17 years ago now when we started that in Ontario. And it was very innovative here at the time because we put together a pooled financing vehicle. It was the first of its kind in North America, and it's certainly the broadest based in North America, where we brought together all the municipal borrowers who couldn't access the capital markets. And we created a vehicle for them to access capital markets at advantageous rates. So we were able, over the course of my time there, we raised about $9 billion to put into all sorts of infrastructure projects at the grassroots level. So that's why I'm actually particularly proud of that work, because in small communities all across the province, we were building seniors' homes, we were building fire stations and emergency vehicle stations and libraries and bridges and water treatment plants. So we really transformed the lives of people all across the province. We eventually then, as time went by, we became a bigger and more sophisticated, and we got into the public-private partnerships market, and frankly has become a world leader in that market, doing, again, at that stage, really major infrastructure. So building a lot of hospitals, taking on major transit works across the province. So through my work there, I feel tremendously proud of my involvement there from day one. The official name is the Eamon O'Loughlin Irish Canadian Immigration Centre. It's based in Toronto. We started up about 10 years ago in response to the tremendous influx of young people that were arriving in Toronto as a result of the economic situation in Ireland at the time. We found that there were a lot of people flooding in. The Canadian government continues to this day to offer 10,000 visas to young Irish to come to Canada for a 2-year sort of introductory period. And then once you're established here, then you can apply for permanent residence if you want to. But these young people were flooding into the market, often on their own or maybe with one or two of their friends, with no real connections or sense of what on earth to do when they got here. So a lot of people were in distress, and the Irish community here got together. The Ireland Fund of Canada, director of that organization as well, and the GAA and the Irish Cultural Society got together and pooled their resources and set this thing up. And through it, we're able to provide services, settlement services to young Irish who arrive not just in Toronto, but really right across the country. We started out by doing really sort of hands-on settlement services. Where are you going to live? How are you going to get a job? We do a lot of seminars on employment preparation. How do you transition from Ireland? We all speak English, but it's not the same market and it's not the same culture in this country as it is. So we have found that a lot of the young arrivals don't really have a clue how to present themselves. So we'll help them to do interview preparation and resume preparation and job search skills. So that has been a big part of our practice. But we've grown very much over the past couple of years into social care and mental health outreach, because of course one of the big problems for a lot of the young people coming here is loneliness and social dislocation. And we found that, surprisingly enough, although there's very good social services in Canada, a lot of new arrivals are very reluctant to access them, and they don't know how to access them. They don't feel comfortable in dealing often with Canadians. So we found when you can provide a nice Irish voice, and our national social care advisor, Micheál O'Rourke, is from Muir, and he's a fantastic guy. He's just a fantastic guy. We're so fortunate to have him on board, and he's a wonderful, warm presence and a very skilled presence. So he knows how to help people who need it. And as you can imagine, over the course of the pandemic, there's been a tremendous uptick in concern and problems in the mental health area. So we've been very busy right across the country. So we've been doing a lot of that sort of work lately, and there obviously haven't been as many arrivals coming through the pandemic, but there's been much more work going on the social care side. So we have, I think we have about sort of 10 to 15,000 people that we would deal with through our various platforms. We're obviously very well set up to work virtually with all the various seminars and presentations that we do across the country. So we're looking forward to hopefully in the fall getting back into our office, which we have set up as a warm place to land for people who have arrived in Toronto. Toronto's a big city, and if you've just arrived from Oma, our Minister of Assistance is from Oma, Tara. If you arrive suddenly from a relatively small environment into downtown Toronto all by yourself, it can be a bit daunting. So it has proven very popular for people just to drop in, and they know whenever they come in, they're going to get a warm welcome from Tara and Kathy, our executive director. They'll get a nice cup of tea and a biscuit and have a nice chat, and we get them all set up. So I'm also very proud of the work that ICANN is doing, and I think we've been making a real difference in the lives of the young people that are arriving in Toronto and Vancouver. Part of the engaging with the diaspora is about building the relationships that then further the development of the country. When these young people arrive, you don't want to just forget about them. I mean, first of all, it's not the right thing to do to just forget about these people who have arrived. But the longer term view on that is you're building the relationships that are necessary as time goes by to develop the country. A lot of these are the young people that become, the CEOs of companies here that, become perhaps very wealthy themselves and interested in investing in Northern Ireland. They're the people that will go back and start companies in Northern Ireland after their experiences in Canada. So I think there's a tremendous value, both short-term and long-term, in engaging with the diaspora. Even though I grew up here, I think like a lot of people of my generation, we sort of grew up as exiles and going back and forth all the time and constantly being told, being schooled in the sense that Northern Ireland is your home. You're living in Canada, but Northern Ireland is your home. And so we were constantly going back and forth when I was a child. And, as an adult, certainly in pre-pandemic times, I was back and forth at least once a year. And I can tell you, I have my passport in hand and my finger on my credit card to pay for a ticket to get home as soon as I can, as soon as the restrictions are lifted. So I go back and forth as often as I can. I'm in touch with my relatives in Northern Ireland a lot. They come to me, I go to them. So over the years, there's been a lot of toing and froing. And with my involvement in the Ireland Fund, which is, it's again, an internationally based, I would say, development agency. I mean, we raise funds to fund projects in Northern Ireland and in the Republic of Ireland, often focused on education, integration, and peacemaking across the island. So through my involvement with that, I've been involved in a number of projects in Northern Ireland as well. So over the years, there's been a lot of connection back and forth.